Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning visitor, welcome back. If you like this kind of content, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, please leave a comment. I would like to know what you think. Now let's begin. So this happened some time ago during the time that I was basically fighting my ex-husband for custody of our son. This was my first husband. And even though we were going through these challenges, at one point we had a meeting and we kind of discussed some things concerning how the situation should go in regards to custody. And he had this girlfriend, we'll call her Lala. And this woman, she was so, I guess, caught up with my ex that at one point during this meeting, this woman got mad at me because of something I said to my ex-husband. And this situation was really none of her business. And I simply said to him when he was asking me to do something in terms of the custody, and in this situation, it would have required for me to have some trust. And I just looked at it and told him, I don't trust you. And just me simply saying that, I didn't cuss him out, didn't disrespect him or anything like that. I just told him I didn't trust him. He knew exactly why I said that. This girl went off so bad, she had to be escorted out of the meeting if I can remember correctly. But I think it's real foolish when women do that, some women, when they do that because they don't understand all the ins and outs of a situation. They only know what they heard. They really don't know the other person's side, or if they do, they still believe the biased opinion of the person that they're currently with. I just think it's just best to stay out of it. I mean, unless you can conduct yourself accordingly. But that's just my opinion. Of course, I'm a little biased because it's my situation. And I just felt like she didn't really belong in that meeting. She wasn't his wife. She's not my kid's stepmother. It just was no need for her to really be there. But that's my opinion. So, moving forward. So, make a long story short, he ended up winning custody of the children and, of our son. And him and Lala went on from there. So I went on with my life and so on and so forth, right? So some time had passed and I ended up getting remarried. My life turned around for really, like, just for the best. I was happier. Just things was just going really well in my life. The Lord had really, really blessed. And so next thing I know, I get a letter in the mail pertaining to our son. Talked about it with my now new husband. And as a matter of fact, we're still together many years later. And I was like, whoa, I wonder what's going on. Like, what's happening with my son, you know? So make a long story short on that end, my ex-husband and Lala ended up getting into it, and I guess she put him out and filed a restraining order on him and even put one between him and our son. And I was just like, wow. But that's a whole nother story for another day. So as would have it, I was like, I'm finna go get my son. So I went, got my son, won custody of him. It was very easy. The Lord opened the door and I got him back. And life continued on from there. Well, let me tell you, after I had picked up my son from school, because that's where I was able to get him at school, and the administrators, of course, let her know, hey, the mom came and got her son. And boy, this upset Lala really, really bad. So I did allow them to give Lala my number. If I can remember correctly, I told them that they could give her my number. I didn't have a problem with that. I was more level-headed than she was about the situation. And of course, I needed to get my son's things and stuff like that, right? So Lala calls me, was acting crazy with me, talking to me crazy, saying mean stuff. Um, and I don't know how we kind of got things calm to a point where we was a little bit more civil after a while. And even her mom reached out to me and talked to me. And I'm just like, wow, but where were you ninjas at when I was trying to stay in touch with my son? And why didn't y'all do right when things were the way they were before I got regained custody of my son? Like, now you guys want to act like you want to do right, or at least the mom act like she wanted to do right. It just, I was like, I was just over it, right? So one day, Lala did something really, really stupid. So like I said, we got to the point where we calmed down some and was kind of getting along. I, talked to her about the situation with my ex and just kind of told her how to navigate through a situation like that because I knew what kind of person he was. Um, and just kind of warned her about some things and so on and so forth. And even recommended some books that I read, pertaining to that situation. And one day she calls me up, and I don't know if her mom got in her head, somebody got in her head, or she just it was just her own thinking. Stupid thinking, if you ask me. She says to me, "Wait a minute, we're not friends. Why are you recommending books to me? Why are you this, that, and the third?" And it kind of shocked me, like, okay, well, my bad, like trying to be cool, So I said, okay. So she went back to acting a fool with me again. And I mean, at one point, this girl was harassing me over the phone, calling me because she didn't know where I lived. She was calling me, didn't really want to give me my son's stuff back, kept trying to set us up. Um, in terms of us going to get the stuff, I knew she was trying to set something up, and she was just acting real weird. Like she was trying to set us up to do harm or try to take my son back from me, and I'm just like, chick, this isn't your kid, like, and you're not even with the dad anymore. Like, you guys got your own stuff. Like, honey, my son don't need to be in this nonsense, Like, he's already been through enough. We don't need this right now. You know what I mean? So I was just like, okay, well, I just kind of accepted that she just had this heart towards me the way she had it towards me. And even though I try to be cordial with her and be cool, and she had a couple of kids by my ex, the brothers could have stayed in touch with each other and everything. It could have been a beautiful situation, but she chose to do things the way she chose to do them. Fast forward, I would say some months later. I don't even think it was a year later. um Me and my husband and kids moved to another place, and moved to a new place, new start, fresh start, new family, just moved on with my life. And one night I had a dream that Lala was like in the sewer, like she was in the underground, and she was trying to, it was a weird dream, but she was like underground trying to creep up on me and my family and try to do some type of harm. I think physical harm. And I think in the dream, this girl tried to attack my husband or something. It was a crazy dream. But in the dream, she looked like she had went completely crazy. And I remember, I think like she jumped out of the sewer and started running. Her hair was wild. And it was like she just really lost her mind. It was almost like, you ever seen those characters on a show where their head is moving really fast, their whole body is moving really fast, they're fidgeting and they're moving real fast, and then they just take off into a run or something? Like, it was kind of like that. Like, she looked really weird in the dream. And I even gave her a nickname because of that dream. I started calling her Whack Job. Like I'm like this, like the way she was acting, um, calling me, harassing me, just saying crazy stuff to me, being mean, just unnecessary stuff, unnecessarily mean to me. And so I was just like telling my husband about it, and I said, I think I told him we need to be careful because Whack Job might try to do some type of harm to us, let's just kind of keep our eyes open. And then I remember one time I went into the store and my son was sitting in the car, with my husband and his sister, and he saw Lala get out of her car, but she actually went somewhere else. She didn't go in the store where I was at. I think she went to the Red Box to order a video. And my son had enough sense to duck down because he didn't want any problems. And I'm so glad because I didn't want any run-ins with this girl. Like I said, she was tripping. So now when all of this was happening, this was shortly after I got my son back from her, right? So this was shortly after that. But now, back to what I was saying. Fast forward some time later, I don't even think it was 6 months later. I mean, I am sure it was less than a year later. All of a sudden, I get a letter in the mail. And come to find out, this girl was driving down the street one day. Now, this is Lala we're talking about. Same girl acting a fool with me, like I said, throughout this whole story. She was driving down the street one day with her two sons in a car, which is my ex's two sons with her. And suddenly, while driving down the street, she just lost her mind. Like, she literally lost her mind. And they say that she had, I guess, apparently parked her car in the middle of the street, jumped out the car, and started running, saying some demons was chasing her. Like, she flipped. And the state came and took her kids. Oh, it was a whole mess. And the strange and funny thing about it was, even though me and her were of no blood relation, but our sons were related, they sent me a letter asking me, was I willing to take in her two sons? Like, take custody of them. I was like, wow, the irony in this situation. It blew me away. And at that time, I hadn't even correlated that happening with the dream I had about her. That was the crazy part. But, and I mean, wow, I just couldn't believe it, how that happened to her. And so, make a long story short, her mom ended up getting a bigger place and taking custody of her grandkids, which was a good thing. They should be with their grandmother. I was like, whoa, like, it caught me so off guard. I was like, I didn't know what to think. So that's pretty much the story. And I just think that if Lala would have just done right and not did the things that she did, and I'm not really trying to judge her. I'm just looking at her actions, and I'm just like, girl, it didn't even have to go down like that. And this was during the time that I didn't even know how the Lord felt about me and people treat me a certain kind of way. Like, I didn't even understand that this woman was reaping what she had sown because of the bad harassment she had put me through. And it was over the phone because, like I said, she didn't know where I lived. But anyway, that's my video. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks and have a great day.